So Nilou, one of my most favorite character in Genshin Impact, is finally getting her rerun after a few patches because, well, I don't know who would ever deny such a beautiful looking character. And also it is of a lucky thing that Nilou does have her banner rerun so early because we've got so many characters before in the past that did not get their rerun in like a year or so. So for Nilou fans out there, it's a good thing. However, a character that's favorite for me doesn't mean that it is suitable for everyone, which is why today again we have a video looking into if whether or not Nilou is a worth it pool for you at this point, because ever since she was released to until now, things have changed quite a bit. Now guys, speaking about pooling for characters, if you are new to the channel, then be sure to subscribe as I will be holding a giveaway at 35 subs for my subscribers. We're already at 31k, so it's not a very long way until then, and we might even make it for Nahida's banners for you guys to pull. So just click on the red subscribe button if you haven't already, because there's a big chance waiting for you ahead. So with that out of the way guys, let's just jump into the video. Now first off, let us remind you guys about what Nilou gameplay is all about. I won't be going too in depth, but I will be basically covering the major points in terms of Nilou's skill and kit. Is that basically overall Nilou is a character that just wants a lot of HP. The more HP she has, the better. So generally speaking, she is all going into HP. Now the good thing is that she does have HP Ascension, so it pretty much helps her there. You're never going to be doing her normal attack, those. It is very beautiful and a little bit wasted because it is very good looking, but everything comes down from her E skill to her burst. Now what her E skill basically does is that it has two stances, a sword stance and a whirling step. A sword stance is for you going to be having your Nilou on field and then technically spamming her normal attack because it is then turned into Hydro. However, it does have pretty low duration because it is only an 8-second uptime of Hydro infusion. So what most of us usually do is we're going to be spamming her whirling step because then she has basically a Hydro Lotus surrounding your character, and it does have an uptime of 12 seconds. Now even though it doesn't deal any damage with this, it will still help your team have a lot of AoE Hydro application. Her burst is pretty simple guys, basically it scales off of HP, and she's going to be casting her burst and there will be 2 damage instances, which is the very first hit after the burst, and then after 1 or 2 seconds or so, her burst will do another explosion on the enemies that it hit before, dealing additional damage. It does have 70 energy, so it's on the larger scale of energy recharge, and an 18-second cooldown on top of it. So generally her burst is just going to be helping you dealing a bit more of additional damage on the team, and most of the time you're not going to be focusing too much on it damage wise. However, the main shine of Nilou all comes down to her passive talent, because this is where her uniqueness comes in. Her first passive basically mentions that she is a character that only gonna be working in team of Dendro and Hydro, no other element, in order for her to pull out her maximum potential. Because whenever she's running in this team, what it does is that it basically gives her what's called a Golden Chalice bounty for 30 seconds after she finishes the third dance step of her E skill. This will be applied to all of your characters, and your team member gets an additional of 100 EM boost whenever they are hit with a Dendro attack. Mind you that getting hit by Bloom Core's damage will still be considered. However, what's more important now is that all of the Bloom reaction will now create what's called bound cores instead of the normal Dendro cores, and these cores have a lot larger AoE and will explode almost instantly whenever they are created, unlike the normal Dendro cores where it takes up to around 6 seconds before they explode. It also mentions that these cores won't be triggering Hyper Bloom and Bursion. Basically, it's just meaning that she won't be working in any other team members apart from Dendro and Hydro. And as for Nilou's second passive talent, basically for every 1000 points of max HP that is above 30k, her bountiful cores will be increased by 9%, and it has a cap of 400%. So in short guys, her maximum bonus on this is going to be when she hits 70k HP, which is a lot, and it's going to be a little little bit hard for you to hit if you are a free-to-play player. So generally that is how Nilou will technically work. From what you can see, I'm sure that you are aware that her gameplay is very unique because it only consists of Hydro and Dendro core teams members and the focus on bountiful core teams, which I believe there are no other character in the game will be creating such kind of cores, and I feel that this is only going to be unique to Nilou and Nilou only. And so the very good upside about Nilou, this is that whenever she is used in the right team, her team performance is very good. Not to mention your team deals a lot of damage off of the bountiful cores on top of all of the maybe sub DPS damage you already having from your characters, which is for me personally, Nilou bountiful cores team has always deserved a slot on some of my best team comp in Genshin Impact right now. If you haven't already watched my best team comps discussion video. Her playstyle is also very easy. You technically just going to be setting up her E skill and that is basically it. You can either have her as an on-field driver if you want, though generally most of us are going to be playing her as the off-field while triggering her Lotus Whirling Step dance so that the team have access to up to 12 seconds of Hydro application, though I do have to admit that her on-field has really good animation. So if you're someone like me who really loves seeing Nilou attack animation, then I usually just have her on field and it still works pretty good also. However, from all of this, she does have a lot of downsides that her team comp at this point is basically just limited, and she's forever going to be limited in terms of her team comp because there is only and only Hydro and Dendro teams, making Nilou's gameplay either a very refreshing kind of style or a very bored kind of style. However, there's another downside to her as well, is that if you want to have a very good team performance for Nilou, it does require you to be invested into her, as you need really good character like Kokomi and Nahida at this point, and those two are 5-star character. So technically speaking, you already need to invest in like 3 5-star character in order to have a very good team for Nilou, which is something you do really have to consider a lot. However guys, that being said, Nilou is a very free-to-play friendly character as well because she's really easy to build, plus she does have access to a lot of decent 4-star character for you to run with at this point. Now in terms of her artifact sets, you generally just want to like dump all of that into her HP, because I usually wouldn't really recommend you to build her energy recharge for her burst, because even if she has no energy recharge, she's still technically gonna have her burst once every 2 rotations. Her best artifact pieces right now, I would say guys, is gonna be 2-piece Tenacity and 2-piece Varukasha, which is our newest artifact piece, which helps you with an additional of 20% increase. Now this is really good for free-to-play players because I have already mentioned we want to invest as much HP as we can into Nilou. You may be asking whether or not EM stats is important on Nilou, and I would say it's not as important as HP because that directly contributes to how much bountiful cores damage she deals, whereas for EM, she may not always be the character to be triggering the bountiful cores, so you don't really need to focus too much in terms of EM when you are building her as free to play. She also have access to a lot of good swords guys, because HOYO-verse have been rather generous in terms of sword weapons giving event. Now of course her best in slot option is always gonna be the key of Kashni suit, so if you are running her as a free to play, I do generally recommend go along with the sack sword, because especially at C0, sack sword for you is very beneficial. It acts as if you are having a C1 Nilou, since you're able to re-trigger Nilou E skill, and that acts as if you are going to be having her E skill up 100% of the time. It helps you out a lot, and it does give you energy recharge together, so it does help you to have her burst up more often. We definitely have other options, you know, like the Cyphos Moonlight, Iron Sting, Sapwood Blade, Fresh Zara, and even the Favonius Sword. Those are really good options that you can put onto her, but generally guys, I just do really recommend give her the sack sword and you will feel a lot more comfortable using your Nilou. Talking about free to play teams guys, there are a few 4-star options that you can choose from, which are going to be Barbara, Xingqiu, Dendro MC, Carly, Yao Yao, and then once the second phase of patch 3.6 arrive, Harvey is going to be the character on her team too. So generally guys, for Nilou team, I just recommend you to run double Hydro and double Dendro, because of course you get 2 resonance off of of that of Hydro Resonance and Dendro Resonance. So I don't really see the points of you running 3 Hydro or 3 Dendro. That isn't just going to be as beneficial. Now, of all the 4-star characters on Nilou teams, the best character I would say are going to be Xingqiu, Dendro MC, and Yao Yao at this point, because these are the characters that will help you have the best leverage at the moment, which I do believe that you should already have at least 2 of our characters, which are Xingqiu and Dendro MC. Hopefully you get all the way to C6, because C6 Dendro MC is just really good. I don't know if you have Yao Yao, but she has already had the chance to be given for free before, so I do believe that you should have one Yao Yao on your account, which is going to be a pretty decent free-to-play Nilou team right there. However, whenever Kave come, I do believe that he's a very good addition to Nilou's team building. We haven't really got access to much information on Kave at this point, and I will leave discussing in depth of Kave on another video. But Nilou overall do have pretty promising free-to-play gameplay option. Now, in terms of discussing about Nilou's teams, guys, we know that she only works best when it comes to Hydro and Dendro. However, she still works with other team comps as well, you know, like Vaporize Team and Melt, because of her really good access in terms of Hydro application. So if you really want to play around with Nilou that way, you can really do so. But of course, we all know that it's not really that optimal, and it's only for fun at this point. Now, since it is a Nilou rerun videos, I want to discuss a little bit into her constellation, because maybe some of us is actually considering her constellation. Now, for her cons, guys, personally, from a perspective of someone who loves Nilou, I really do love using her and using her team comps, because Nilou is very fun, and I myself have considered pooling for her constellation 4. However, I would just give you straight is that her constellation investing, especially for, you know, free-to-play player who don't have access to a lot of Primogems, is not going to be as worth it as you investing in her BIS sword option, as her sword is just really good and it makes a world difference for how much you get for investing. But if you are still looking into constellations, then her C1 is okay, it's decent. I would say is that it does give her dance step, which is the luminous illusion damage, an increase of 65%, so a bit more damage for you there if you decide to have her on field. However, her tranquility aura now gets an extension of 6 seconds, or a total of 18 seconds uptime for the Hydro application, and that's going to be 100% uptime for you, so that's going to be decent in terms of Hydro application. However, for a C1 investment, I wouldn't say it's making too much of a difference. However, guys, the best constellation for Nilou, I just have to give it, is going to be her C2, because Hydro resistance of 35% on tops of a Dendro resistance decrease of 35% as well is just really good. Very rare stats of resistance shreds in the game right now. So in terms of calculation boost, you're going to be seeing around 16% Dendro damage increase and a 25% Hydro damage increase here and there, which on top of the C1 that you already have really is a good constellation to invest in. Her C4 just going to be helping her with energy recharge. It doesn't really make too much of a difference, though if you are focusing on her doing damage, it is rather okay. And then for her C6, you're technically going to be getting an increase of 30% crit rate with a 60% crit damage increase, because if you are going to be C6ing her, I am sure you're more than capable of hitting the maximum cap for her C6. Now her C6 is going to be basically mainly her to be on field, guys. So this is a constellation only for Nilou's lover and fans, and once again, most of us are never going to be able to C6 a character anyway, so it's not too much of a big deal. And so from all of our discussion already, guys, here's the most important question of the video. Is Nilou still a worth it character for you at this point? And my really honest answer, guys, is that unless you really like Nilou, she's not really optimal for you, because as I have said, Nilou team does require you to have a lot of investment, especially Kokomi and Nahida. Yet, guys, that is only the start, and the difference between you having her best team and her, you know, basically free to play options is going to be quite a big difference from what I have seen. Not to mention the fact that she has really gameplays of only Dendro and Hydro character, making her even more limited across gameplay style. So if you still have limited character on your account at this point, it is really hard for using Nilou, and you can tend to get really bored with playing Nilou as well, since you're stuck with one gameplay. So overall, Nilou is kind of like either you really like her and you're going to be using her anyway, or you just don't. it's just that much of a clear in terms of how gameplay is. And so guys, that would be my saying in terms of Nilou and how she performs at this point. I hope that has been able to help you out a bit in terms of your decision making. If you do have any questions, just feel free to leave it down in the comment section, and I or some of our lovely other Genshin players will get to you there. Again guys, if you are new to the channel, then be sure to subscribe, as I will be having the giveaway really soon and you can be a part of that as well. Now if you're still having trouble deciding which character to pull for in patch 3.6 guys, and I have a really in-depth video going through that, so be sure to check out the videos on the screen right here. I really appreciate you guys sticking with me till this part of the video, and with that I wish you a super day and I will catch you on my next video.